You are listening to Sustainable from AgriBusiness Global, covering the crop protection, biologicals, and plant health markets advancements toward a healthier planet. Hello, and welcome to the Sustainable Podcast. My name is Sarah Webb, and I'm the editor of AgriBusiness Global and host of today's episode. In this segment, I talk with Jennifer Lewis, Executive Director of the International Biocontrol Manufacturers Association, about the European Commission's proposal for the Simplification Package Omnibus, what it means for the regulatory process in the EU, and more. Thanks for listening. Jennifer, thank you so much for joining me today. My first question for you, can you talk about the significance of the European Commission's proposal for the Simplification Package Omnibus, including targeted amendments of EU Regulation 1107/2009?
Good afternoon, Sarah, and thanks very much for the invitation to join you. Yeah, this is very significant. We really welcome this proposal as IBMA for this simplification package for biocontrol. I mean, IBMA has been advocating for 30 years for its entire duration for more proportionate regulation and faster access to market for biocontrol while ensuring that they have a full safety evaluation. And what this proposal is making in Europe is really a way of reducing some of the bureaucracy and making proposals to actually accelerate farmer access to biocontrol. Because, as you may be aware, there are many products and active substances, mainly chemicals, that have been withdrawn from the market in Europe, and farmers are really running out of options for pest and disease management. And there are also many biocontrol options that are not yet registered here in Europe. Or some, and many, in fact, of those are actually in the system. And currently in the system, it can take up to 10 years. In other parts of the world, it'll take 2 to 3 years, sometimes shorter. So it's hugely significant that we may have the opportunity through this simplification measure to reduce that 10 years to something more like, or heading towards, 2 to 3 years, with targeted amendments to 1107. So for those of you that may not be aware, the EU Regulation 1107 regulates all pesticide authorizations and approvals. That includes biocontrol as well as conventional pesticides. And there are many measures in here that are looking to accelerate access for farmers to biocontrol.
Would you say that acceleration that will speed up the registration process this year already in 2026?
No, because where we are is the procedure in Europe. We have to go through the procedure. So the first bit of the procedure is that the Commission has to write a proposal, and they have to submit this proposal to Parliament and to the Council of Ministers, because we have 3 legislative bodies. We have the Commission, who writes the proposals and then finalises them. We have the Council of Ministers, which is the ministers of the 27 member states of Europe. And we have the European Parliament, which is 750 members of the European Parliament who are elected by the people of the various member states. So any piece of legislation is proposed by the Commission, and then it has to be reviewed by Parliament, who make a set of amendments. And in parallel, it is reviewed by the Council of Ministers, who make a set of amendments. And then the 3 bodies, so the Commission, the Parliament, and the Council, once it's been voted, a set of amendments has been voted in the Council, and probably a different set of amendments will have been voted in Parliament. And then the 3 bodies, the Commission, the Council, and the Parliament, get together and they perform what's called the trialogue. And that's where they basically negotiate to come up with a legislative text, a final legislative text. So we would expect this year, in 2026, the proposal to be voted in Parliament and then separately in Council. And then in 2027, we would expect the trialogues to happen, so the discussions, the negotiations. And then sometime in 27, we would expect those to be finalised and the legislation to enter into force.
Are there any other factors that are influencing the regulations process besides this simplification package in the EU?
Oh, other pieces of legislation coming through, yes. There's, for biocontrol, There's the Biotech Act, the second part of the Biotech Act, which is expected sometime in 2026, which will include things that are not healthcare. So there's a first stage of the Biotech Act, which is healthcare. The second stage of the Biotech Act, which we expect this year, will include aspects of agriculture. And we would expect there to be something about biosolutions in there. Biocontrol is part of biosolutions, so we expect there to be something for biocontrol. But the immediately implementable actions will be around 1107, and that'll be part of the simplification procedure. We expect the things in the Biotech Act to be more long-term. We expect the Biotech Act to have a lot of other things in it as well, and therefore to take longer to get through Parliament and Council. So therefore, the Biotech Act is expected to do things that in the longer-term vision for the industry.
I see. And is there any other kind of work being done by the EU to support integrated management?
Well, we have a piece of legislation called the Sustainable Use Directive here in Europe, which looks to implement integrated pest management and to sort of manage integrated approaches in agriculture, as well as training and sort of safety of sprayers and record keeping. But I would say that biocontrol is the cornerstone of IPM, integrated pest management. And in progressing biocontrol, it's really recognized that this will help sustainable agriculture and also provides a tool or multiple tools to help us actually implement integrated pest management more fully here in Europe.
Okay, and wrapping up here, is there anything else that you'd like to add on the topic?
I would say that we really welcome this initiative. It's been a long time in coming. It's really built up over the last few years. So we had many of these provisions and things like provisional authorization, proposals to have unlimited registration for biocontrol, so no re-registration process necessary, unless there was a scientific need to do so. And some of these were actually discussed at the time of the upgrade of the Sustainable Use Directive, which then never happened for multiple reasons. But this was really a good bit, if you like, from the Sustainable Use Directive, and everybody recognized that. It was then brought into the Strategic Dialogue of Agriculture, supported by many stakeholders, and now brought into the proposal for simplification. And I should say that the European Parliament has issued an own initiative report, which is a non-legislative report, which had over 90% majority vote, and that was all about how to accelerate biocontrol. So they signed off or voted in November of 25. So they've already done this in a sort of dry run almost, if you were to think about it like that in legislative terms. So we've got cross-party support. So I'm very excited to be able to push this piece of legislation and encourage the co-legislators to vote positively for this piece of legislation for biocontrol.
Absolutely. We'll have to keep an eye out for more updates on that. And thank you so much, Jennifer, for joining me today. I appreciate all of your insights.
Okay, it's a pleasure.
Thank you for listening to Sustainable from AgriBusiness Global. You can find more podcasts, videos, news, e-newsletters, event, and webinar information at agribusinessglobal.com.